Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot and welcome to today's reading. So, we're going to look at really, what is it that's going to help to get you to the next level? That's kind of what the question is for today. And that can mean different things for different people. So, growth, moving things to the next level. Some of you, that means you want to move into a new place where you're apart from them and you don't need to be pulled back by obsessive thinking. Maybe that's what the next level means for you. Or in some cases, it's about the two of you getting prepared to be together. What's that going to take? Does it require you to be together? Does it require you to be apart to learn those things? We're going to look into this today. So, as always, it's going to be a general reading for this group, for this collective, and so it won't resonate with everybody. Shouldn't resonate with everybody. If it does resonate with you, you may want to subscribe. Maybe take a look at some of the other videos because a lot of them, they're all very much connected. They're very much connected. So this one, we're going to go ahead and start out by looking at kind of what is the energy between you. So we looked at the energetic backdrop and we want that to be kind of part of the picture, but we want to also ask that, like we often look at that. And yesterday we asked for the energetic and emotional backdrop. So today we're going to go ahead and incorporate that energy of the emotional and energetic backdrop, and we want to see the energy that's in between you guys right now, because sometimes adding that it just gives so much better of a perspective from which to see the rest of whatever comes out. You get to see it through a slightly different lens depending on what that energy between you is like and what that backdrop looks like. So you've got the Nine of Pentacles, and what comes out for me here is the fact that you're able to find strength in one another's energies right now. So we've talked about this before where your person, sometimes it comes out looking like your person is using your strength in the background. Sometimes it looks like you're benefiting from theirs, but really it's that your union comes with, or it creates a certain type of strength, and both of you are able to benefit from it. So that's part of the energy that's happening between the two of you right now. So this kind of, I think it speaks to that question about whether the two of you need to be together or apart in order to find these solutions. And that was a question that I got from somebody at one point. Hey, do we need to be apart for this, or is this a situation where we need to be more together? Energetically, you need to be together for this. So in the physical realm, it doesn't matter so much. I think that in some cases there are definitely messages where we've seen the two of you need to be in separation in order to properly be able to absorb those messages. In other cases, it really isn't required for the two of you to be in separation for that. So, but what I would say is this energetic togetherness is going to be required. That's where that strength comes from. And with the Four of Wands here in the reverse, it kind of is an additional testament to that, just kind of saying things don't have to be consistent all the time. They don't have to be consistent. They don't have to be stable with the two of you together. It's the energy between the two of you is very, like, there may be a lot going on top of the water, but there's not a lot going on when you get down deeper. It's still water's down deep, even if the water isn't particularly still on top. Then we've got the King of Cups. So this is a bit of an ongoing, I don't want to say an issue, but it's an ongoing question of energy between the two of you. And usually within each of you, it's about how you're going to allow your emotional energy to come across to other people. So it's a matter of limited emotion sometimes, because not allowing yourself to play outside of a certain barrier around vulnerability. And this is probably more them than it is you, but there's a limitation around their ability to look a certain way emotionally that causes them to not really get outside of a certain boundary of emotion, of vulnerability. And so they don't get used to being in that realm. They don't get used to talking in that realm, working and being in that realm. So you also have the Ace of Cups that's coming out. This is a lot of love between you, a lot of support, just an outrageous amount of love, but also a delay in the way that things are kind of working for you. So you have an Ace of Cups and a Queen of Cups, both of which talk about like an unconditional amount of love and a new ignition or recognition of that love. And so with the Ace of Cups, it's like it's coming out all new at this time, or it's feeling all new, even though both of you know at this point that there's nothing new about it. With the Queen of Cups, it's very balanced, but with the Queen of Pentacles, it's actually got a sense of not just feeling nurturing, but also feeling appreciative of the other person's more nurturing side, the more nurturing pieces. But there's a lot of there's this sense of things can't happen right now with the star card. There's a feeling of things not being able to happen right now, even if there is this intense feeling between the two of you. There's something here that means that there has to be a wait. There has to be something, even though the two of you work so incredibly well together, there has to be something that kind of there it cannot move forward at this time. This is a sense of timing coming out with that star card, and that happens a lot. I dropped a couple. They fell face down, but I also saw this one. Yeah, so the Four of Wands. This is um, that Four of Wands. You don't need for things to be stable. You don't need for things to be consistent for the two of you in the 3D in order for that growth to occur. And it's a good thing because it definitely is not the direction that things are going. There's more that has to be accomplished. There are, we keep hearing about this new perspective that needs to be gained. There's a lot in that new perspective that still needs to be explored, still needs to be gained, but the two of you are not necessarily finding a consistent space or even a like a level of emotion that is consistent. There's a lot of up and down in the energy between the two of you, which makes things really challenging. However, you did get in on the ground floor. There's that sense of you've already got things kind of set into motion. You've already gotten in on the ground floor, but there is still going to be more work that has to be done to go ahead and engage once the opportunity really comes to you. With the High Priestess in the reverse, though, there's a sense that the information, the messages that want to come to you are coming. So there are messages that are being kind of broadcast or sent your direction that if you are listening, you may be catching some of these messages. Unfortunately, of course, if you're not able to listen or if you're not able to sit still so that you can receive the messages, they might be kind of flying past you. So one of the pieces of advice that immediately starts to come out here is to stop and listen for those messages. It's something that we've seen in a few of these readings already so far, is to just kind of listen for those messages, but listen for the full message. So with the Three of Cups, there's going to be it's an indication that there is going to be challenge in like that third party energy sort of direction. And I would encourage you to realize that this is likely to be third party for both of you. So both of you have a lot that is going on into January that kind of starts to get cooking for you here in January. And so you're going to want to make sure that you prioritize properly. And there's a lot of question about how one is supposed to prioritize. Just realize that some of what you're going to learn is going to push you toward making decisions in favor of your person, and some is going to maybe push you away or make you prioritize something other than your person. They are going to be experiencing something very similar, and the dynamics this creates could be super interesting. This is where communication would become more beneficial, and where we saw there's important communication coming. Some of you may have those conversations a lot sooner than others, but it's an important conversation, a pivotal conversation. It matters how you interpret what you're being told. And so be aware that if you have a communication, even if it's not with your person, even if it's with somebody else, be aware that communications can be easy to misinterpret, especially coming off of this Mercury retrograde. That's still true. Um, But even when we're not in a Mercury retrograde, be aware that misunderstandings can still happen. And so this is a matter of making sure that you're listening very carefully, taking your needs into consideration, and then being prepared for them to articulate their needs so that they can take those into consideration and so that you both can. Okay, so let's look a little bit more into kind of what moves you to that next level. That was the question that we were asking. What moves you to the next level as far as your healing goes, as far as the direction that you need to go? The Seven of Wands in reverse. There's something here about when you're unable to commit to something all the way, it's going to be evident that, like, when there's something that is holding you back, when you're not into something with every fiber of your being, that's an indication that you need to wait on something. It's your gut telling you that you're not ready to move forward on something that you may have kind of felt like you were ready to move forward on, but for whatever reason you aren't. And here's the card that I was feeling: Seven of Pentacles, investment. This is about giving to yourself the type of investment that you need in order to be able to see the benefit over time, whether this is working out, whether this is learning something new, whether this is practicing something that you want to get good at, whatever that means, it's about putting in the effort. So this is about working on yourself. With the Seven of Wands and looking for something that you don't, looking for places where maybe you don't want to commit all the way. There's always that kind of, what should I start doing and what should I stop doing? The things that, or maybe what should I just not start? The Seven of Wands in the reverse helps you determine what you should stop doing and what you should maybe not start. The Seven of Pentacles helps you talk about what you should start doing or what you should maybe keep doing if you're already in the process of learning something and you see benefit in that. It's information that you can use, and learning kind of just invigorates your brain anyway. So there's no reason not to constantly be doing that. Now, not everybody learns in a classroom sort of setting. It can take many forms, or it can be in the classroom setting. And there's any number of things that you could choose to do that would fill that up, or fill that need of whatever that investment in yourself looks like. So let's see what else we've got here. This is kind of, it's really what's going to help you move forward, but what do you need to do to move forward as well? Because that can look different for different people. Well, we've got the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. Feels a little bit like that Seven of Wands in the reverse. And we've also got the Eight of Swords that wants to stay out here, also in reverse. So it's about, this feels like, this is starting to feel like a little bit of a watch out list, because it's places where your gut tells you that something isn't right, or something that, you know, you need to take a closer look at. So the Ace of Swords, where you feel like maybe you're ignoring something, or you see evidence of ignoring something, that may be something where your gut isn't helping you as much, because it is it's in on it as far as intentionally ignoring something that isn't necessarily a new truth to you, but is a difficult or inconvenient one. And with the Eight of Pentacles, it kind of reflects on those Ace of Swords untruths that we tell ourselves, or things that we kind of don't force ourselves to continue to think about. Or, you know, you're aware that something is true, but you're not really going to harp on it because you can't deal with thinking about it that often. You know, it's that Eight of Pentacles that embraces that side of you that hides the truth from yourself, because the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse is all about not having that emotional self-mastery. So this is going to come down to looking for those places where your gut tells you that there's a need to worry about it, where that you're not fully invested, where your emotional self-mastery causes you to want to hide from the truth, or hide the truth from yourself. And look also into those places where you have the keep doing it or start doing it. Those things that come out were places that you could potentially invest, but you're being given the advice to invest in yourself and to walk away from those things that don't feel right to you. They don't feel good, like you should be doing them. You've got a Warrior of Wands here in the reverse. So the Warrior of Wands in the reverse is an inconsistent energy, and it's one that kind of, once you know how you feel about it, you start to change the way that you feel about it. So, in your case, that may manifest as having somebody come and go out of your life, and you realizing how strongly that impacts you, and also realizing that you may have been guilty of this type of behavior in the past and maybe just never even realized that you were making somebody feel that way. But from now on, you'll be a lot more aware of that. There will be a lot fewer rash decisions on your part, a lot more thinking things through before you do them. Um, there's a lot more personal consideration that just kind of comes from this, but I feel like the greatest portion of the personal consideration ends up not being pointed at other people so much as you pointing it at yourself. It's making sure that you truly have what you need in a given situation, because that's not always been the case from what I, have gathered from reading for this collective and just knowing people. We don't always give ourselves what is truly needed. There's not always been a good solid balance, but there's a need to pursue that. Part of that is going to be investing in yourself, finding the place to invest in yourself, and knowing that we've got some opportunities coming up. And the opportunities come up for you, they're also coming up for your person as far as things that can help to set your soul on fire. So when you talk to this person, if you have the opportunity, you could ask them what they're into right now, because they could be getting some opportunities that would really light them up. And there's a good chance that if you get them talking about it, it's a very different conversation. Look also for those things that you would be able to answer that same question with. What is it that you're going to be, that what's up, what are you up to that sets your soul on fire? Um, Let's see. So we've got the Nine of Cups also that's come out here. There is a need to recognize, and we also know from seeing that Eight of Cups in a lot of recent readings here, there's a need to know what it is that's going to set your soul on fire and how you might go about moving that direction. Also, what it is that constitutes your wish fulfillment. So, Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment, and right now we recognize that there are some gaps in that wish fulfillment, whether they're on your side, whether it's on their side. This is a matter of needing to move toward those. So there are some holes that need to be filled within both of you that are going to help move you to that next level. So this is part of what helps to get you moved to the next level, whether it is that means getting you prepared to be in union, or getting you prepared to be apart and getting you to a place where you can operate apart, or anywhere in between. Different people's idea of success looks different. There is a sense of going into what feels like moving outside your comfort zone. There's going to be a need for that. I talked about that a little bit a few weeks back in the beginning of December. Even gave you guys an example of when I went outside my own comfort zone and I stayed there for a little while. Some of the ways that it makes you feel alive, some of the ways that you figure out where your healing truly is. And we know from yesterday's reading that this is something that you're going to be doing anyways, kind of just figuring out where you've got your healing left to do, and where you've done a nice job and can now utilize that in navigating the situations that come up in your life. We've got the Spirit of Wands and the Ten of Cups here, and these and the Ace of Pentacles. So this tells me something here. You have opportunity coming, both of you have opportunity coming your way that is fairly innocent. It's innocent, but may not be perceived as such on the outset. So it may be, you get an invitation to do something, or they do, and the sense is, why would you give me this? I'm suspicious. And it's really just an honest, open invitation where not as much thought was put into it as all that. But with this Ace of Pentacles here, that's the door opening. That's an opportunity that feels like it actually turned into something relatively slow moving. So just kind of keep your eyes open for something that seems like it's not an earth-shattering opportunity, but something that's going to give you that opportunity to invest in yourself. This is something that comes for both of you, but as I was saying, often I say you're the one watching these readings, so maybe you're the one who gets to benefit from it. I get the feeling though that it's going to look like it's not going to look as impressive as it ends up potentially being. So this is something that could end up, it doesn't look like it's too good to be true, but it ends up being something that maybe is very important in your life. So there may be a sense of not being as excited about it, not being as interested in moving forward, but there's a lot of benefit to moving forward. Um, Make sure that you're not trying to put too much control on the situation either. There's a little bit of a sense here with the Spirit of Wands in the reverse of a desire to put too much control on it. And so I guess I'm curious to know how you should interact with this person if you run across them, because there's some indication here that you may run across them. There's a lot of indications here about how to kind of navigate things in your individual lives. You definitely want to be investing. You want to be looking for certain watch outs around situations, but I'm not seeing exactly what you should be doing if you run into this person or if you interact with this person. And I feel like that is where maybe we'll go when we get into the extended. If this person reaches out, like, what do you do? Especially if you're trying to figure out how to walk away and this person continues to reach out. Because we've got a Seven of Wands here that once again is kind of talking about that sense of, if I'm not fully invested in something, what do I do? If I haven't done any investment in myself, in proper investment in myself, what do I do? And so I would like to ask in the extended, maybe to go into something that's a little bit more practical information, especially as it relates to you and this person and how the two of you might interact, if you should happen to interact with one another, especially because we see that that may be a possibility. Let's look at your area of focus. And so this is going to be, I think we've gotten a lot of good information so far about how to move to the next level, but this is going to be your area of focus as it relates to that. And we've got our 3 cards. So we've got the Moon, mystery, making, in this case, making better decisions with less information. Ace of Cups, not shutting down that tendency and ability to love, just not shutting it down. There's a tendency to want to shut it down. It leads to missed opportunities. You're being encouraged not to shut it down. You're being encouraged also to realize that success does not come quickly or easily, that sometimes this is a matter of, you don't just automatically see success after a long battle without fighting the battle first. So what we have here is a matter, just kind of a reminder that this is something to be patient about. It's not necessarily something that that you'll be able to just kind of work through it quickly. Like, you have to really give it your all every day, and that's how you move forward. It's truly an investment in yourself. So you're being encouraged to focus on that investment piece, looking at the places where you haven't invested and doing so without judgment. Instead, when you look at it as an opportunity, and now that you see it, that's kind of a benefit. So it's not just, gosh, I wish I had done this. It's a matter of, now I've seen this, so I have the opportunity to do something. So to turn it to where it's reframed as more positive for you. So you have the Nymph of Wands. You also have the Strength card coming out here. With both of these, it's about relying upon that natural tendency that you have to be strong, but also to be curious. Like, let yourself go down the path. Let yourself, this Five of Wands is very much not struggling against the path, not pushing against what wants to happen, kind of allowing things to happen as it is, maybe as it wants to happen, and having the strength to allow things. Actually, there are going to be some places where you're going to be tried in the strength area, I feel like, here in the near future. And this is an opportunity to prove yourself even in the face of something that is very uncomfortable. Like you've got the capacity to do this, and partially you have the capacity to do this because of this experience that you've already been through and that you continue to go through. When you ask questions like, how do I move to the next level? That tells me something about this collective. Those are the sorts of questions that you ask when you're not just trying to figure out how to get this person back. You're trying to figure out how to move to the next level so that you can either live without them or function with them. Honestly, one way or the other, you've got to move. And this is kind of how that happens. It's about bringing yourself out of the overthinking. It's about allowing yourself to have a little bit of peacefulness, really. It's even got an element of that peacefulness that comes from not overthinking it, not having a tendency to spend too much time worrying about things that you have limited ability to control, or in some cases, no ability to control. So the Six of Cups has you also not focusing on what has happened in the past because you aren't the same person that you were in the past, and you are not dealing with the same situations that you've dealt with in the past. So that one feels pretty important. We've had that one come out here a couple of times now. We also have the Witch, which is a manifestation card. It's very similar to where we see the Magician card in the traditional tarot. And the interesting thing about this is there's a very a sort of a springtime feeling to it, which is not necessarily all that strange when you think about the fact that the Witch, or the Magician, is the number one card in the tarot. So 0 is the Fool. It's actually at the very beginning, but the next one is that Magician. It is that Witch. It's about, okay, here I am. Let's go ahead and manifest. You've stepped off a cliff in the Fool card. So now this is a matter of, okay, how do I get to that next step, or what I need to do? It's about manifesting, and it's about taking ownership and recognizing that you have everything that you will require in order to move forward. But also recognizing what is in your control and what's not in your control. So for a while, there's a little bit of an adjustment period as you try to work through getting okay with the pieces that you control with versus the ones that you don't. Because sometimes the pieces that you don't control are the ones that are the most important to you as far as the outcome. And so it has a lot to do with being able to release the outcome. But unless you are able to release that, you end up feeling like you've got too much on your shoulders because you're taking on too much. And before long, you get this 10 of Wands shows up in the reverse, and that's a matter of having to kind of hit a wall and drop everything. So the intelligent thing to do at this point is to take a look at those pieces as they come in and determine, is this truly something that I have control over, or is it something where I need to recognize that I have limited influence and limited authority, and I'm going to have to let some things fall where they may, or do the best I can with what comes out of it. Sometimes it's just a matter of understanding the difference, and that will turn this Freedom card right into the upright for you. But that's usually not a super quick process. So like I said, as we go into the extended, where we're going to start is what happens if you run into this person. Realistically, if you have cause to interact with this person, whether you are about to have that conversation that we looked at a couple of days ago, that's a pivotal conversation for those of you in communication, or you're not in communication, but you're going to get there. So the people who weren't in communication, if you didn't see it, were moving toward communication, or moving toward a tendency toward communication. I don't know. This was looking at a pretty broad time frame, so it wasn't necessarily, hey, this is about to happen. But if it does, then that puts you in a position to have to figure out, is this where I want to invest my time and energy? Is this the right thing to do? I've got some decisions to make about how things are going to move forward. Am I doing the right things? Am I using my energy in the right places? Am I fully invested in this, or do I need to reconsider? And so these are sometimes difficult things to look at, but let's look into what you're supposed to do if you run across this person when we get into the extended. So if you want to go there, the link is down below. I will be happy to see you there. Otherwise, I will look forward to seeing you again in tomorrow's reading.